G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Monday, the 3rd of September 2018, and the time here is 10:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, hope you had a good Father's Day yesterday. I finally got to sleep and sort of shook off the bloody flu and fever that I had. Still feeling a bit ratty, but not too bad. Getting there, as they say. Man flu's gone. So there's no more excuses for not doing anything, apparently. Right. Last week, I said that I was going to concentrate on financials. That's true, I am. And I'm going to show you some stuff here that, in actual fact, the ABC's actually done everyone a favour. They've done actually a very good report on mortgage rates and falling house prices. And it's really, really worthwhile having a listen to or having a read. Excuse me. It's very straight to the point and explains everything. And there's actually some good charts and stuff in there as well. So let's go to that, have a look. Okay, as you can see, this is the business section of the ABC News. Now, there's a couple of things I want to show you. Second one, down. Melbourne leads worsening national home price fall. And folks, house prices are dropping worse than people thought they were. So you have to listen to what they're saying to you. But this is the most important one. This one, mortgage rates are going up as house prices are falling. And that's unusual and a worry. And also the bottom one, which tells you that most of the banks are now starting to put up their interest rates. Now, what I'm going to do with this article is, I'm not going to read it all, but I'll put a link in the description box and you guys can read it for yourself. It's actually a very good article. And the charts are actually pretty scary if you actually know what you're looking at. There's only a couple of things to say really that I haven't said before, and that, you know, we are now in a full-blown housing crash. Where the people, you know, they're still trying to fudge the figures, etc., to stop people being scared, but it's actually falling worse or faster and a lot worse than they thought it would. But the main thing to keep an ear out is this: mortgage rates are going up as house prices are falling, and that's unusual and a worry. Well, you're bloody right it is, because what that tells you is a lot of people don't have a lot of money. Now, the unfortunate thing here is that the Australian government, because of the Banking Royal Commission, knows that house prices are going to start going down. It also knows that lending rates are going to start going up. And it also knows that a lot less people are actually going to be allowed mortgages because of the lending practices that have been highlighted in the Royal Commission. Basically, the lending criteria has been, well, you know, you show me an oily rag, I'll give you a bloody $400,000 loan. You know, which is, it's just been basically for turnover for the banks to supply money to their shareholders. And it's all obviously corrupt and wrong and stupid and everything else. And we are all tarred with this brush because we've all stuck our nozzles into the trough and eaten from it. You know, I'm just the same as everybody else, no different. And at some stage you have to pay the piper. So unfortunately that time's come. As Bill Holter and Jim Sinclair said last week on USA Watchdog, and if you haven't watched that interview, please watch that interview. Yeah, you know, we've been saying for years, blah, 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 but we've never had a situation like this before, and that's what people seem to forget. We've never had a situation in this country or any other country where they're doing what they're doing now. So it's bad, and it's going to get a lot worse. So start buying food, start buying water, and start buying chickens and whatever else you can. Now, there's something else I want to show you guys here, and it's all to do with China. As China rises, Steve Bannon predicts working class revolt in Australia. And that's true, that's actually happening. Now read the second article. China officially bans ABC website, claims internet is fully open. Well, it's not, because they're banning everybody. Now there's one other thing here that I want to show you guys. This is it here. China has transformed its military to fight and win wars, Pentagon warns. Now, if you actually spend 5 minutes and read this article, it's actually a really good article. And what it tells people like us here in Australia is that all the time while China's going, yeah, we're your best friends, we're your best friends, we're your best friends, deal with us, deal with us, deal with us. At the same time, they have clandestinely pushed a military option that is massive. Now, they're not at the stage yet where they can worry the US. They only have one aircraft carrier, for example. And I've said this before, once China develops a situation militarily where they can send long-range bombers anywhere, that's the day that this all changes. This matey, whatever it is, relationship. It also mentions in there something that's not brought up that often, and that's China's right to Taiwan. Now, China has made no secret of the fact that they believe Taiwan is theirs, and they want it back, which is a bit of a what's name to the Taiwanese, because they're like, well, we're Taiwanese, we're not Chinese, and the Americans have backed it. Now, there's a big push in China for them to take back Taiwan sometime soon. Now, that would be a very, very big deal. And one of the reasons for that is because Americans have manufacturing in Taiwan that they don't have specifically in China, mainly security stuff. So for the Chinese to take Taiwan would be a poor, are we going to go there? Are we real? Are we really going to do this? And the Americans would quite rightly get involved. I just want to show you this other thing here of Steve Bannon. Yeah, I know. Steve Bannon. But this is actually another really good article that they've written here. And he's actually pretty spot on. The thing here to remember, folks, which is something that a lot of people are actually forgetting, is that it's not a crime to be white, and it's not a sin to be white, born white. And it doesn't automatically make you a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, anything like that, just because you're white. And over the last 5 years, there's been a massive turnaround in people's ideologies. And of course, the mainstream media is actually going to try and turn that on its head and tell everybody that they're racist, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, whatever else you want to phobic. And quite rightly, people like me have just said, enough's enough. And the other thing that I need to point out to you all, if you're watching this, is that we are the majority. We are actually the majority in most cases. And that scares the left more than anything else, because as soon as we realize that we are the majority, that's when the left goes bang and falls down. Now, we're having social problems here in Australia with imported people. Doesn't mean they're bad people, just means that they're shitheads generally and they need a good kick up the arse. Because when I was a kid growing up, if people acted like that, we used to kick them up the arse. We'd say, well, there'd be someone standing there going, well, you either want to live here or you don't. If you don't, there's the freeway. Get on the freeway to the airport and piss off. Simple as that. And those days are actually coming back. And the calls for people like me saying something like that from the left as being racist, etc., are actually dying off. Because people are starting to realise that these people don't fit into our society. They just don't. No matter what you do. You know, if you're taking war-torn families and putting them in inner city Melbourne suburbs, you know, and this is interesting to note. Do you know Israel is actually en masse sending all their Somalis back to Somalia and any other black nation? And why? Because they just don't integrate. And the Israeli government and people have just said, well, you know, what's the point in them having him here? If they don't want to integrate, go back to Somalia. Go back to Mogadishu and, you know, blow the shit out of each other and leave us alone. So that's what's actually happening in Israel. They're actually deporting them all of them. Because they got over there, they set up their own little conglomerates, they set up their own crime families, they set up, you know. And look, does it go on in white society? Of course it does. Does it go in Arab societies? Of course it does. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It just means that at some stage, somewhere along the line, over these last couple of years, people have forgotten something very, very simplistic. And that is, how about you respect the people's country that you came in to live in? You know, Australia, America, Israel. But they're coming here, they're expecting everything, and they want to give nothing back. And that is disgusting. You know, when 55 to 75% of people, immigrants, don't work, have never worked, and they're now coming up to the second generation of never working, you have to sort of scratch yourself a bit and go, well, yeah, no, this ain't working. This is bullshit. And something needs to be done about it. And, you know, I'm quite happy to help lead that charge. Because, as I've said before here many, many times, I'm not doing this for me. Because, you know, I'm 54, my life's kind of gone. I'm not trying to reach back to glory days or anything else. But I have this simplistic belief that if you're brought to a country as an immigrant, you're educated in that country, you're supplied work in that country, you're asked to do certain things by that country, you're obligated to be part of that country. And you're obligated to be, say, an Australian, living in that country. You don't come here and try and force your own rights and, you know, your perspectives on us. That doesn't work, and it's not going to work. And as I said, the reason I'm doing this is because of my kids. Because 20 years from now, if this keeps going the way it's going to go, inner city suburbs like Melbourne, and people are going to laugh when I say this, but they'll end up being like Beirut. As soon as they get enough power in their own communities and they can exclude other people, and other people don't want to go there, and this happens in London, folks, by the way. Don't think I'm joking, because it's not. There's places in London the police will not even go to. Because the communities have set up their own, basically their own country in a little ghetto. So this is what's happening in Melbourne and Sydney now. And the same thing happened in Lebanon. Yeah, come in, we'll look after you, come in, yeah. Everyone came in. We educated you, we put you through our unis and that, but as soon as they realised they were actually had their own majority, they started shooting all the Christians and anyone else who didn't want to kowtow to their Muslim beliefs. That's how the Beirut War started, folks. So after all those years, 20 years it was, of welcoming them in and doing everything for them, they turned on the Beirut people themselves and started wiping them out. It was pretty shocking. It is pretty shocking. I'm just using that as an example. So history tells us, whether it's Jewish, and that was a part of the big problem in the Second World War, or that was, Hitler's term, the final solution, was because the Jews weren't integrating into everyday life. Not all of them, but some of them, I guess. But I don't really realise how bad it couldn't have been that bad that you had to wipe out 6 million of them. Jesus, that's ridiculous. But at some stage, people must have said, hey, you have to change. You have to sort of pretend that you're living in Germany. And that would have gone on deaf ears. And then what happens is the ultra-right comes in and actually does something about it, which is actually to the extreme. Instead of having the middle happy ground where they just go, guys, if you step over this line to say you want to stay in Australia or America or wherever, then great, we welcome you with open arms. But remember, you're an Australian. But if you actually want to stay on that side of the line, then go to the airport and piss off. That simple. And that's where this is going to go to. And that's what's going to help in Melbourne, because now the police aren't even arresting these guys. Crazy lefties. They'll let people knife, murder, stab, go and, ram raid pensioners' homes and smash them up, all this sort of shit. But they won't arrest them because they don't want to inflame the situation. Well, Hitler is the end of inflammation that gets out of hand. So my advice to people is, well, you better start arresting people before vigilante groups start walking around those suburbs of Melbourne and things escalate out of control. Because that's where it's going. There's already calls for vigilantes in Melbourne. So, crazy world, crazy world. Okay, let's finish with the prayers. And as always, a fantastic verse of the day. The earth is filled with your love, Lord. Teach me your decrees. The earth is filled with your love, Lord. Teach me your decrees. Perfect. And as always, folks, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. All right, folks, time's up. I'm out of here. Have a good day. God bless. Prep out.